I didn't realize how hard being a stay at home mom was until I was in it. Now, if you watched my previous videos, I talked about going through infertility for 7 years. So, this was my first child. And I have two kids now. But in 2019, I had my daughter, and I definitely wanted to stay home with her, especially in the beginning, because when you really tried so hard and so long for something, you don't just want to like toss her aside and say, okay, let me go take her to daycare, let me take her here. You want to enjoy all those moments. Now, my husband also did not want her to go to childcare. He wanted her to be home, definitely wanted her to be protected, watched over, all those things. So I stayed home. Now, he also traveled for work and he traveled to other countries for months at a time. And so before the pandemic happened, we were traveling with him. And then when the pandemic happened, we were stuck. And I say stuck, we were actually in California at the time. And we got out of there and we came back to Georgia, which is our main residence. And we stayed here. Well, me and my daughter stayed here. He actually went back on the road. And so he was gone. My niece came to help me for a couple weeks. Then she had to go back to her life because she was getting married. And then she did come back again one time after that because she was like, I cannot leave you here by yourself. This is just too much. My daughter was crying all the time. We thought she had colic. My niece was like, she definitely has colic. Like we were back and forth to the doctor. Like we don't know. To this day, we still don't know what it is, but she was crying all the time. We don't know if it was gas. The doctor said at one point it could be gas or just some babies just cry for the first, 7 to 8 months. Like she cried all the time. So on top of being in the shock of being at home by myself, like she would cry and then she wouldn't sleep and then she wanted me to hold her all day. And holding, I don't have a problem holding my kids. Like, they can sit in my lap. I'll hold them all day. But it's different when someone's home and you can say, okay, I'm going to hold you for the next hour. Okay, pass your son, daughter, whoever off to the next person. But when there's no one there to pass your child off to, there's, your husband isn't there. It makes it so much harder. So I quickly realized, okay, being a stay at home parent is hard. Like I was losing weight. I was drinking Ensure because I literally cannot keep any weight on. Every time I would eat something, I would go into the refrigerator to open up a container of food. She would wake up. I would open the refrigerator, like just the sound of opening the refrigerator. Anything. I'd open the front door. She'd wake up. I mean, anything, any reason to wake up, she was up. So it was almost like, okay, well, I can't really do anything. We would walk the neighborhood, I don't know, probably 20 times a day, because that's the only time really she would sleep. Because when she was in the stroller, we would walk in the neighborhood, but guess what? I wasn't getting any sleep. So I was just literally a zombie. And then when my husband did come home, it was literally maybe for a couple of days or a week, and then he would be gone again. Now, if COVID wasn't happening, we were actually planning to be traveling with him. That was the initial plan. We were going to travel with him. But once COVID happened, the world was completely different and we could not travel. He was out there, traveling by himself. And so during that time, I mentioned I'm a playwright, I'm a screenwriter, and so I definitely was staying up at night writing plays, 1000%. And I had two commissions at the time. And it was more like a workshop commission. So I was workshopping my play through one theater and workshopping my play through another theater. And I was staying up all night trying to get this work done. My niece was calling me because she's a poet. She's an adult, obviously. She was calling me, like checking, okay, did you get this done? Did you get that done? Okay, send it to me. Let me read it. So I did have like an accountability partner, someone who just to this day like pushes me. Okay, what are you writing? What are you doing? What's going on? But while I was up at night writing, guess what? My daughter, she actually would sleep. She would go to sleep in the carrier. She would sleep in the carrier, and then I would put something like put a stroller here or something so she could sleep with me at nighttime. So, but it would be late, like maybe 10, 11 o'clock. By that time, she would just be like passed out, but the sleep wouldn't last long. She would sleep maybe for like 2 hours and then she'd be up again. So I knew I had a window. Okay, well, I can probably write for 2 hours. And then by the 2 hours, I need to tend to her. And so that would go on off and on through the night, but I would stay up and write to get things done. And of course, the next day I was a zombie. So I realized, okay, well, this is not really that productive. I'm not really getting that much done. And then I also mentioned I missed the socialization part of just being around people, being around coworkers, talking to people because I didn't have anyone to talk to. Everyone had a job. And if I happened to go to a park or something like that during the day, there were moms who were there with other moms that they knew. Like they had their own circles. So, although they would say hi to me, they would see me from time to time. I wasn't part of their circle. So it was like, okay, I'm still over here by myself. All the other moms I knew were working or their kids were older than my kid. So I'm like, okay, this is a lot. So I was applying to jobs throughout that time because one, I think something that I miss being a stay-at-home mom is getting a paycheck. I like seeing money come into my account. I mentioned this before. I like seeing money come into my account. I like doing what it is I want to go do with my money. If I want to go to the store and waste $200 on something, I can do that with my money. If I want to go on a trip and decide I'm gonna, spend X, Y, and Z on a trip, I can do that. But when you are not working and there's only one person working and they're, I don't want to say deciding, but they're saying, okay, we're going to pay this, we're going to pay that, well, we don't need to do this right now, you know what I mean? Like it's more pressure on one person. And then of course they want to make sure that you have the things that you want to have but also be realistic. Okay, well, we can't go do that. So I really missed having a job, so I was applying to things. No one was calling me, like not one person. And then I did get a call from an old employer who wanted me to come back to California, to work temporarily. And I was like, man, like I really do want to take this job, but then I also was like, do I really want to work that hard? I don't. I don't want to work that hard. And then I'm in another state. I will be in another state with my daughter with absolutely no help. I already didn't have help. So I had, and I think I mentioned this before, I had a sitter who would come periodically in the morning. She didn't come consistently because COVID was happening. So, her kids would get sick or she would know someone who had COVID, like she wasn't coming. So she would be there off and on. I did have, well, still do. I have two sisters who live here, but they don't live close to me. They're further away from me. So it wasn't like anyone was next door to me. So I was at home by myself all day, every day. And so, yeah, I wanted to find a way to have money and to also get back to work, but on my own terms. Because I'm like, I do, although this is a lot, this is super stressful, I do want to be here for these important moments. I do, although it's stressful with her crying all day, I do want to be the person here to hold her. I don't want to miss out on these moments because even now, my daughter just turned 7 a couple of days ago. I can't believe how this time has gone by. Like, it's crazy how fast it goes. But I wanted to be there for those moments and to just enjoy that time as much as I can, even though it was stressful. So I was applying to stuff locally to Georgia. I wasn't getting any calls from anybody at all, not one call. When I say not one, not one. So then I decided, okay, well, maybe I'll try to invest in something or I'll invest in real estate or I'll do something. I found one property that was a fixer upper. And I was like, okay, I can turn this into a coffee shop and I can make something happen with this. It was in a flood zone, so it was not a good area. Long story short, I told someone else about it. I said, hey, what do you think about this property? And from what I understand, this person was interested in buying it. I think they did buy it. Honestly, I think they did buy it, but that's neither here nor there. But I said to them, well, what do you think about this property? I'm thinking about buying it. It wasn't anything that was expensive, mind you, because I didn't have a job. It wasn't anything that was expensive, but when I was talking to that person, they're like, well, the money you're gonna have to put into it because it's in a flood zone and it's old and all these things. That part had already priced me out because I didn't have the money to do that. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just forget about it. But I think that person did go back and purchase that property. So then I said, okay, maybe I'll look into franchises. I did look into franchises like Auntie Annie's, and Chick-fil-A and Kumon. But I honestly was not interested in doing those either. Then I took business classes through the SBDC. They did online business classes. They also did coaching. So I did coaching with them. Just so many things, trying to find another avenue. This all, mind you, when my daughter was in here with me screaming, okay? Well, I'm trying to find some way, some path to having income, to having a sense of employment, but not being at work. Now, I tried to get all that secured in 2022 because at that point my daughter was 2. And I was like, okay, well, she's getting bigger now. The pressure was in my mind that I have to figure out something to do because I need a job. I need something to do. And then I decided, okay, well, I'm starting to get older. If we're going to have a second kid, we should definitely do it now. My husband did not want to have another kid. He was like, well, you're already stressed to the max, but if we're going to do this, let's do it now. And we did IVF, so we already had embryos frozen. And the deal was, okay, we're going to do this one time because at this point we really didn't have the money to do it. So much money had been spent previously on the IVF that we were paying back. And so he said, we're going to do this. It's going to be this one shot. If it doesn't work, then, we just kind of need to move on. And so we do one round, and it worked the first time with my son. Meanwhile, I told you for 7 years I've been trying with my daughter, nothing worked. First time back, I'm trying to get pregnant the second time. I was pregnant. So then here comes my son, pregnant with him. And then I was sick the entire time. Sick. Well, I was sick with my daughter too, but more nausea. With my son, I was bleeding. So then I was on bed rest. So then I couldn't work. And I'm wondering, have any of you gone through that where you were trying to figure out, okay, well, being a stay at home mom is rewarding, but it's also stressful, but I also want money. And then well, you could have gotten pregnant naturally, you discover you're pregnant, or like me, you were trying to get pregnant and you've gone the fertility route. And you did that, but then you're still in your mind conscious about, okay, what are my next steps? What am I going to do? What am I going to do for money? What am I going to do for my career? What am I going to do for my life? Once this kid gets here, because now you have 9 months. Once this kid gets here, like, what am I going to do? What are the next steps? So while I was pregnant with him, I started really, really trying to work on the next steps. And I will talk about that in the next video.